Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc., the channel all about bringing you as much nerdy content as possible. Today for you, we're in Dragon Village M, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys what my roster is. You see all these videos I make, right? And about all the different things I'm trying to get, and what I've gotten over the whole time I played this game, what I've kept. I've got all these summon videos, but what have I kept after all those videos, right? Well, let's find out. As always, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy content like this, if you enjoy Dragon Village M, this is definitely the channel for you. I post a video every single week as often as I can. Sometimes I can get more, sometimes I may miss a week, but that's life. Also, if you really enjoy what I do and you like all these videos that I post for you guys, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll have a link in the description below for that. And you can come join my Discord server and chat with the gang with me and the other Patreons. And if you ever need any help, I'm one message away. I've always got my phone on me, so it's pretty easy for me to reply to you guys pretty fast on there, as opposed to YouTube comments where it could take me a week or two to reply. So just an idea. Also, guys, I think I finally have a store for my product, for my shirts. If you want to order one, I just ordered one for myself to wear on camera. But if you guys want your own shirts, that says Battle Ready Inc., I'll show you a picture right quick. That's what it's gonna look like. There's actually two different versions. There's the black shirt with the white writing, and then a white shirt with black writing on it. And they're just pretty simple, just the standard Battle Ready Inc. logo on it. Some other people have had ideas of getting this shirt and then on the back doing like a screen printing of some Dragon Village content, right? Some Dragon Village M content, pictures and fan art, that sort of thing, printed on the back. I don't want to step on any kind of copyright toes, so I can't do that for my shirts, but I can put my own logo on it and you guys can go and add to it yourself. But enough of the shameless plugs. Let's get into this video, right? Let's look and see what we got. So, a lot of you guys know, my number one dragon is Varus, right? He is my boy. And if you look, I've got this in order of power, and he is just squeaking in above Trophius as my strongest dragon on my entire roster. I got all these 610s, and he's kind of up there at the very top. Not really much to say. I've done review videos over this guy and stuff like that. I claimed that he was the number one dragon in the game. That was meant to be a joke. He's just my number one dragon in the game. That he's just kind of my favorite. I think he looks super cool. Super cool design. And he's just really strong. He hits really strong, and he's got an amazing leadership. But, so second dragon here, we got Water Trophius, right? I've raved about Water Trophius time and time again. Definitely watch my review video on that one if you have not. Arguably, maybe one of the most used dragons in the game, although he has recently kind of fallen off a little bit. We've got some interesting tanks in the game, like Fire on Aghoris is pretty good too. Lots of people use that one, so it is what it is. I've still got my Light Clown Dragon. I've had this thing forever, since I first started. I also should say that I've been playing the game for a year and a half on this account. My first account is long gone now. This account passed it up because I made this account just to do YouTube videos on, and then it kind of turned into my main. So, I use this dragon still to this day for top lane clan dungeon because of its leadership ability, and it's a single target attacker. So he's top lane, and then Varus is bottom lane leadership, right? No matter what element we're on. Sometimes it kind of bites me in the butt on those off element weeks, but what do you do? Also, I finally got a Dark Arcana. I finally got this guy right after he got to that point where he just power crept out. There's other dragons in the game that are just better choices than he is, which is a shame because I wanted him for so long. Finally got him, geared him up, and then got him powered up, and then he's just not as good as he used to be. Still super strong. Don't get me wrong. He hits like a monster, but he's a 3 mana cost attacker, so it's kind of a awkward trade-off you get there. Hedgebat, Dark Hedgebat. I'm a big fan of the Hedgebats because they're 4-star dragons, so they're easy to get to 6/10. Super easy compared to all these 5-star dragons, and they're great AoE attackers for Clan Dungeon, for bottom lane. I still got my Light Venezi. What do I use Light Venezi for? I think bottom lane of Clan Dungeon I use the Light Venezi. I think it's like kind of like a worse version of Dark Totem, or Dark Totem? Yeah, Dark Totem or Light Manus Dragon. That's kind of what he reminds me of, because he scales off of attack, so he's super squishy. But good heal, got a revive, attack buff, that sort of thing. So that's pretty nice. Light Lady, out of just a straight tank healer that does nothing else but just heal like crazy. I think this dragon's probably the best in the game for just that. Problem is, it doesn't give you any other kind of good benefits like, you know, attack buffs, revives, or anything like that. So it kind of falls short. But considering it's a 3-star dragon, it's, again, super easy to get up there. Light Alien, great dragon for top Clan Dungeon. Resets cooldowns, or lowers the cooldown timers of 2 mana costs dragons, as well as lowers the cost of all your skills on your team. So again, phenomenal for top lane Clan Dungeon. Ilon I built up because of my PvP team. My PvP team right now consists of Dark Arcana and Fire Varus. Call me crazy, and kind of a little bit. Again, power crept. 2 3 mana cost dragons is not what you want to go with. I'm so invested in these. I mean, they're both 6/10. And what else do I have up here as far as attackers can I use for PvP? None of these. All these other dragons that are DPS up here are all Clan Dungeon only, because they're only good against one element. So these are my only options, so this is what I've got to kind of stick with for now. And so Ilon really helps benefit these 3 mana cost dragons, I think, the most. Out of all the supports I could put on my team, I think it's the best option. So that's why that one's there. Again, another Hedgebat, same reason for the dark one. These Mummygons, exact same reason as, yeah, don't look at these runes. These runes are not the best. I don't know why I haven't upgraded these yet. These guys are here for the exact same reason as the Hedgebats. They're 2 mana cost attackers, right? And they hit the hardest in the game out of all the single target attackers, but only against the exact element that they're strong against. So, like the fire type is only good against the earth type. So that's what makes these guys balanced, is they hit super hard, but they're only useful in one game mode. You don't want to take these guys into PvP. You'll get wrecked. I kept this earth Aghoris just because I pulled it, and then like immediately, like, I don't know, I want to say a month later, maybe not even a month, Water Trophius came out. And the Water Trophius just instantly replaced this guy as such a better option. This guy replaced Power Dragon. If you guys have been playing that long, and you remember when Dark Power Dragon was the meta tank, and then it was, you know, the Aghoris's fire type is still pretty meta, like, relevant as an option, as an alternate option to Water Trophius. But I use this guy for Tower of Tests, because out of all my tanks for Earth type, he is by far the best. Dark Bane here. Dark Bane is in the same boat as all my mini dragons. He is basically just like the Hedgebats, except for he's a Nat 5 dragon, right? So he's at max 6/10. He's going to hit harder than a Hedgebat, right? So it's just going to take a lot longer to get there than a Hedgebat. Hedgebat's so easy to get up there. As you can see, these Hedgebats are already outperforming him, and they're only 4-star dragons. So once I get him up there, though, he'll be worth it in the end. Water Wonder Dragon. God, I've talked about this guy so many times in like so many different videos. early on. I'd say for the first 6-9 months of the game, free to play mainly. You get this guy and you just dump everything you can into him until you get him level 60, 610. Because he's so useful. He's useful in every single game mode, no matter what you're doing. You can put him with an Earth Witch Dragon, and then he just never dies unless they have buff removal, which in PvP is going to come up a lot, especially in high tier PvP. Low to mid tier though PvP, he's still a great option. Him and the Dark One, which we'll get to. I still have the Dark One as well. Night Dragon, Fire Night Dragon, or Night Armor, whatever. I've had him for, oh golly, I don't even know how long I've had this guy. He was one of my first, like, tanks, just in general. I thought he looked super cool. I mean, his design still looks great in this game. He's just fallen off. I don't use him really at all anymore. I may use him. No. I think he got replaced even in my Tower of Tests team. So, poor Night Dragon, he's kind of fallen to the wayside, but I don't want to quite just fodder him yet. I put a lot, and he's level 60 here, 6-star. I don't want to just fodder him just yet. You never know when you might need a good tank again. Also, he does hit hard on his drag skill if you do it right. Light Pharaoh. Light Pharaoh is one of the first supports I ever got that really just kind of changed the game for me. He has a passive that's a mana regen. He gives out all these buffs. What was it? Yeah, he's got the mana regen, and the 2 dragons in the back get an attack buff constantly. So he was one of the first dragons in the game that did this. Now we have quite a few more that do this exact same thing, but better than him, which is kind of sad. But again, he's a 4-star, so, and he's a light type. I don't think there's any others that are light types that give the same kind of buffs. Oh man, keep going here. Fire Gaudium. This is the second time I built this guy up. I had him in the beginning of the game, and then I foddered him. And then I found out later how good he was, and I wasn't even realizing it. Not even just for the double mana regen on his drag skill, but for top lane clan dungeon, he does some really good stuff. He puts some defense down constantly against the top lane of the boss, so you hit harder with all your dragons, as well as he decreases the attack of the boss. So that way, he not only protects the top lane, he also protects the bottom lane, because there's the big laser beam attack that the clan dungeon boss does, and he's lowering the attack of the top lane boss, so that laser beam does less damage to all 10 of your dragons. So definitely a great benefit there. His attack, though, isn't much of a big deal. As you can see, I threw some mana runes on him. Actually keep him in the middle of my formation. So I get the double mana regen when he gets a critical hit, as well as he's just a mana battery in general. Water Enix. Water Enix was my favorite healer for a long time. When he heals, he puts an invuln barrier on your dragon, so you don't take any damage. As well as he was one of the first dragons I had that had a revive. And revives are still kind of rare in this game on a healer. So he was great for that. The problem was, his heals were also huge. He healed for a lot. Problem was, he only does it to two targets. And in this game, you need 3, if not 4 targets on your heals, pretty much, if you want to survive. I would give up the invuln shield for 2 extra targets on that heal any day for sure. But that's not an option, so he's basically just kind of sat there. I think he was the first ever that I enhanced to 1, and then I never touched it again. Strategies got better in the game. I got smarter, and he just became kind of less relevant. Light Spiral, same thing as the Mummygons. He provides the same benefit against the Dark Dungeon. He does a whole bunch of damage, but that's it. Only against the Dark Dungeon is he useful. And the only reason I don't use a Mummigon instead is because there isn't a Light Mummigon. So you have to use the Light Spiral, but you can use Mummigon for all 4 other elements. I'm just waiting on that Dark to show up any day now. Alright, Cupid, Fire Cupid. I made the mistake a long time ago. I foddered my Earth Cupid whenever I got it. I didn't realize how good it was. Yeah, don't hate. I kick myself enough as it is. My Patreon group can tell you. But I still keep this one, mainly for Tower of Tests. When you have to use that all-fire team, having double mana regen on that is just so nice on those 2 mana cost attacks. So I bring in my Dark Bane and my my Mummigon, and they just wreck. And then this guy getting that double mana regen is pretty crucial. Power Dragon, I kind of mentioned him earlier. You know, he was the first meta tank that we had, mainly because he took damage in place of 2 of your other teammates, so he protected them. Whoever had the lowest health, so you couldn't kill them as long as that barrier was up. He took all the damage instead, as well as he takes less damage while he does it. And on top of that, he was just constantly recovering HP. I still like this guy in place of a couple of the Aghorises, because they have the same thing. They basically have the same skill set, except for their heal skill heals the dragons you're protecting, whereas his heal skill heals himself. So he's taking all this damage for himself and 2 other allies, and so he needs a lot of health. So I think it's nice that he heals himself. Again, though, besides that, he doesn't bring anything to the table for your team, so definitely fallen to the wayside. Frosty here. Frosty is what replaced the Light Pharaoh that I was mentioning earlier. Basically the same skill set, just a little bit better, because his very last passive is basically a miniature leadership ability. So you have your leadership ability helping all your dragons, and then you have this passive here that's also helping all the, well, at least helping all your attack type allies, which those are the ones that need the damage boost, and that's what this does here, is it gives a damage boost to all your attackers. So that's pretty cool. Loras. Why did I get Loras? Oh, so before Ilon, I had Loras for my 3 mana cost dragons. And basically what this one was kind of like a Lamgon or in a Cupid dragon, where it gives you that double mana regen when you use a certain skill. For her, it was when you use a 3 mana cost skill, you get that double mana regen. As well as... Okay, yeah, that was it. I thought it had another passive at the end, but also it reduced the cooldown of your 3 mana cost skills. It was good at the time, but I quickly got tired of it because the double mana regen had a cooldown timer on it. So you couldn't just pop one, wait 10 seconds, then pop another 3 mana cost skill, and it restart the double mana regen. Like for Cupid, if you just keep never ending using 2 mana cost skills, it just keeps that double mana regeneration going. Whereas this would have a delay where you'd have to pop it again later and you have to wait, and it just wasn't very good. Water Wonder Dragon, same thing, or sorry, Dark Wonder Dragon, same thing as Water Wonder, just this one hits a little less. It's not as hard hitting as the water one is, but if you put both of those up front with a Witch Dragon behind them, it's cake. Moving on, Dark Venezi was an interesting healer. I needed a dark healer desperately for Tower of Tests, and this one just kind of fit the bill for me. It was a good tank, but that's kind of about it. It was a tank and it was a healer. No revive or good buffs on this one, so I didn't really get too much use out of it. I still use it for Tower of Tests, but I would much rather have like a Dark Monas for sure. If I got a Dark Monas, I would instantly just eat this guy for lunch. Mini Dragon, same thing as Dark Bane and the Hedge Bats. Just this one's for light. Whenever I need a light one, this is the one I go to. As you can see, it desperately needs some powering up, though. I got a Totem Dragon here. I use it for Fire Tower of Tests, but that's about it. Dark Totem is better. Dark Totem has the revive, of course. What was it? Oh yeah, this one does give the attack buff, but that's kind of it. And then it's got a passive heal on top of its other heal, so it's good. Problem is, it's a glass cannon. It goes down easy, just like the Venezi does. I think I like Venezi more though, because Venezi has the the revive, and that's the main focus that I like the Venezi more for compared to this one. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. Oh, light solar. I probably underutilize my solars. I just recently pulled the fire one, and as well as the water one, but I think I fed the water one because it's kind of garbage. But we're just in that awkward state in the game where 3 mana cost dragons are not, they're not as good anymore. There's just better options out there, and I'm actually going to talk about those options because I do have those dragons for the best, the new and greatest thing. Although I think last week they got a nerf, but whatever. Another mini dragon. This is just the water one, so I've got all the different elements for my AOE attackers covered for Clan Dungeon. Naroth. For a long time I raved about these guys, the dark one and the fire one. I finally got the dark one, and then I just kind of hated it. It just wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I wanted them for mana batteries, and because at the time mana batteries were kind of a little more rare. I didn't have access to meditation runes at the time, or anything like that, so this was the only way I could get mana. This and then the fire Gaudium, and so they weren't bad for that. But besides that, you know, dot damage isn't really that competitive in this game. It just doesn't work. Light Darkness. Oh man. So before Fire Varus, Light Darkness was my jam. He was my favorite dragon on my entire roster. He might have been my first ever summoning video on the channel. I can't remember, but I think it was. And because he just looks so cool. He hits really well. He does a lot of damage. He scales basically the same as... I want to say he scales the same as Dark Arcana. Oh no, it's crit rate he scales off of. Dark Arcana scales off of crit damage. However, there was a time when crit rate scaling was the meta. Just mathematically, you could argue that it was better. It hit more consistent, I guess I should say. You got crits all the time, but your crits weren't as hard as a crit damage scaling dragon was. But crit damage scaling dragons crit less often. So mathematically, it just kind of came out the crit rates were better. But that's a history lesson right there. Mainly, though, it was his leadership that I love so much. All ally, crit rate up 31%. I don't know if there's another one out there that's that good. Maybe a limited dragon, a 5-star limited dragon, has a better version of this. But I'm not quite sure. Definitely put in the comments, do you know of a dragon that has a higher crit rate up leadership ability? I know the clowns, they're at like 26%, I want to say, is their leadership ability. But this guy was just a better option. He was my leader on bottom lane Clan Dungeon for a long time. Smart Dragon, like I said in my intro guide, my beginner's guide, Smart Dragon's the best choice between the 2 starter dragons, just because healers, at least early on, are a little more hard to come by. He's a tank healer, which I love even more than these glass cannon, like attack healers and stuff like that. But one of the things that was a huge benefit for me for this guy, I actually stopped using him for, I don't know, 6 months, and then I brought him back and I used him again for like another 4 or 5 months as my healer on my PvP team, because Water Wonder Dragons were just the bane of my existence. And his passive here removed beneficial effects, and I had no other way of removing beneficial effects. So he definitely was a saving grace for those stupid Water Wonder Dragons I was having to deal with. Now, though, the only people using Water Wonder Dragons are on a kind of a tier lower than where I'm at, and even if they got this crazy Water Wonder Dragon, my team can still just outperform it and out heal it, so I'm not worried. Witch Dragon, I never felt the need to get it past 5-star. It did what it did. It just has to sit there. It doesn't need to do anything but sit there and use its passive on the Water Wonder and the Dark Wonder Dragons. And I just use this combo for like PvE, clearing out adventure mode, and that was it. Just to get my rewards. Earth Jet Dragon. I loved Earth Jet Dragon. Probably one of I think it was my first just generic DPS. Still actually a super good dragon. Jet dragons. As you can see, I have the Water Jet Dragon. Water Jet Dragon, until literally last week, was like no contest best DPS in the game. He just does a lot of damage. He's a 2 mana cost dragon, and he hits 4 enemies at once. Only other dragons that are outperforming that are like the 3 mana cost that are hitting 5 enemies at once. So Earth just basically kind of the same thing, except for he scales off attack speed. I used to hate attack speed dragons in the beginning of the game just so much, just because I felt it was taking away. But what I didn't realize at the time was it was actually better than that, better than I realized. So most dragons, you get a buff from attack and crit damage, right? And you need a little bit of crit rate in there too, just to get your crits off. But it's only 2 ways of actually bumping up your attack. So when these dragons that scale off attack speed come in, that's a whole 3rd way of powering up your attacks and getting stronger attacks. So you got these buffs down here. Oops. For crit damage buff, and then you got your attack here. Once you cap those out, what do? You can't get any stronger. Well, on attack speed dragons, you sure can. You can get that extra 200%. I got 201 on this dragon. That should just tell you how strong he is and how much better he is. Unfortunately, mine isn't. I never did enhance it or mastery it, so it's just kind of sitting there. He's still, I think, the best dragon for Tower of Tests Earth, though. By far, super good. I don't know of any other AoE attacker. Earth dragons are so rare in this game, mainly attackers, and he definitely overcomes that. And basically, I have just him sitting on my team, and the rest is all healers, tanks, and supports, just protecting him so he can clear the entire stage by himself. So yeah, that's what he does. Pretty awesome dragon. I probably will get around to eventually leveling him up, just because unfortunately the Water Jet Dragon got a nerf. However, this week's finale results last night, I was looking, he's still top 10. He's not on every single team like he was, but he's at least on, I'd say, 4 out of 10 top 10 teams. He was still on them instead of 8 out of 10. So that's the only difference. He did get a nerf, but he's still super good. All right, so looks like we're going to the home stretch here. Water Cat's gone. Interesting dragon. So it's a single target, right? Just like the Water Mummy Gone, except for it doesn't need to only attack. What is that? Fire types, right? Yeah, fire types. Oh man, I'm losing it. To get its attack buff. It's good against every element. But what makes it super interesting is, so it doesn't hit as hard as a Mummy Gone does, okay? But what makes it super interesting is it has a passive that lowers its 2 mana cost skill to a 1 mana cost. So just tack on for extra DPS, just kind of sitting there, just spamming. It's got a really low cooldown, just spamming the skill out. This 1 mana cost single target skill that does a pretty decent amount of damage, honestly. All right, last couple ones we got here. These are kind of the only ones I've got left out of the clowns. I'm so let down by these guys. I've never been impressed. I tried powering them up, tried using them. And just at the time, whenever I was still at this point in the game, where all my dragons were just 5-star 50s, they were wet noodles. They didn't hit worth a crap. But what made me want to keep them for so long was that they just had that leadership ability, the crit rate. 24%. Sorry, I said 26% earlier, but 24% crit rate up. So what I was doing for basically Clan Dungeon, for that top lane, like I was saying, I was changing out my Clown Dragons for the appropriate element. It's like, oh, Earth, let me use my Earth Dragon this week because we're fighting water, so it gets a buff off of it. But it's like I would do a one run with an Earth, and then I'd do another run with the Light Clown Dragon, who didn't have that element buff, and the Light Clown Dragon just did 2-3 times the damage as these other guys. So I just got to the point where I just never took the Light Clown Dragon off. If I'm just using these guys as their leadership, I can just use the Light Clown Dragon for the same leadership, and then just hit harder in general. So I think the only reason I still have these guys is for Tower of Tests. I probably should have kept my water and fire. I'm not really sure why I got rid of them. Maybe I was just desperate at the time. Um, but definitely should have probably kept those just for Tower of Tests, if nothing else. I have seen videos online of people using these guys again in Clan Dungeon top lane, and they're hitting super hard with them. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Right. Yeah, just a few here. The rest is all project dragons that I've got going. Oh, there is the water one. He's just super weak. Yeah, I think I got rid of just the fire one. These volts are gonna be awesome whenever I get to that point. I haven't done a review of these guys yet, but it's mainly this right here. Every 4 seconds, right, and you get to bump the damage up. You don't get to reduce the cooldown, but every 4 seconds, you get to attack 7 enemies at once with this. And if their HP is above 80%, then you get to do ×2 damage. So that right there for Ancient Tower, right, every, what is it, 12 days, Ancient Tower resets. And you got to go clear all those trash mobs again that are super weak. These guys just one-shot them. And if they don't one-shot by themselves, then 2 of them at one time hitting is definitely going to kill them. So, yeah, they just passively, you don't even have to use their drag skills. They just passively kill all of your targets, which is super amazing. So definitely powering these guys up just for that. Talked about Water Jet Dragon. He is... these next 3 here are actually the team I'm working towards building. I'm a little hesitant now with the nerf. I'm going to hold off powering up Jet Dragon just a little bit, slow it down for a minute, just to see what the final numbers are, if he's actually been nerfed enough where I should stop immediately and not feed any more into him, or if he's still strong enough I can keep going with him. But here's my Earth Cupid, so that double mana regen, as well as, where is it? Every 15 seconds, which is reduced down, right, to every 10 seconds. He hits if you're in PvP, he hits the entire enemy team and removes a beneficial effect. Which is just great for killing Water Wonder Dragons. Those stupid Water Wonders that I was complaining about, he's a Water Wonder killer, which is great, because he just spams this every 10 seconds, and the Water Wonder just can't keep up with all that buff stripping. As well as his drag skill is just kind of just useful in general. Decreases the target's crit damage, crit evasion, and recovery rate. All 3 super important debuffs in this game, especially in PvP. Lots of dragons scaling off of critical damage, and then blocking recovery rate so they can't heal. Oh man, super important stuff there. So great support there for PvP. And then Fire Bagma, another great support for PvP. Gives some a good amount of mana regeneration, a little bit more luck-based, unfortunately, because it's just a chance of it happening. Yeah, 50% chance to gain 3 mana, so, you know, sketchy. Increases all allies' defense. Every set duration, where is it? No, that is cool, though. Lowers the enemy's defense. Where is that? Right, so if other allies use drag skill, whose mana cost is 2, it resets its drag skill. When you use its drag skill, it puts a target to sleep. Sleep's always useful, especially healers in the back that you can't even attack anyway. Decreases the cooldown of other allies' drag skills, whose mana cost is 2, by 30% for 12 seconds. And then you just keep resetting this drag skill, and then you just basically you perpetually are decreasing the cooldown timers of all your dragons with Fire Bagma. So you build an entire team of nothing but 2 mana cost dragons with Earth Cupid to keep that double mana regen going. So you've got a constant stream of double mana regen and a constant cooldown timer reduction with Fire Bagma. So great 2 dragon combo right here with your other like 2 mana cost attacker, 2 mana cost healer, If you use water Trophius, you got that 2 mana cost tank. If you're on auto, it's bound to use it eventually. But at least if it uses it, it keeps the combo going. It doesn't break the combo, which I like. Clown again. I don't know. I don't even think I use it in Tower of Test anymore. Mini Dragon, working on just slowly powering this guy up. I have the Hedge Bat, so not a big deal. The Hedge Bat's doing just fine. Fire Smart, just a great good healer. Just mine's a work in progress. Stupid Magnus, I hate this dragon so much. I've pulled it twice back to back out of my limited dragon eggs, and it's just the worst. Mainly just because what I was saying before, I think 3 mana cost drag skills are just not as good anymore. You don't find good combos like you do with the Fire Bagma and the Earth Cupid. You don't get good combos like that with 3 mana costs. They do hit harder, sure, but it's not enough to win you a game. One good heavy attack. Iris, you used to be the best DPS in the game. The Earth and the Water. You'd see these double Iris teams in PvP everywhere, but ever since Water Trophius came out, they don't hold up anymore. Water Trophius skill basically made these guys null and void, which is a real bummer. That I finally pulled one, I think just like last week or 2 weeks ago, and then it's obsolete. I'm still powering it up. I think it's still a great dragon to have for Tower of Test as a single targeter. Sure, definitely. So it'll be good to have there, but as far as PvP concerned, Fire Aghoris, I like to have it just in my toolbox if I ever want to use it for PvP. I just haven't needed to make that plunge yet. I like Water Trophius just a little bit better than this guy. He's nice though. You see him in top 10 PvP. You do. I think you just see Water Trophius a little bit more is all. So it's just kind of personal preference, I think. Evil Dragon, just a good DPS. Dragon Slayer, another good DPS. Another one I wanted to keep in my toolbox just because you never know if it was going to become meta or not. Fire Solar and Light Solar together, great combo. Again, 3 mana cost. What do you do? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I got a lot of wasted stuff right here with these 3 mana costs, but they're still so powerful that I can't justify getting rid of them. Water Aphrodite, garbage, she'll be fodder. Earth Solar, garbage, he'll be fodder for masteries. This is the new dragon guy, and very interesting dragon. I think he's definitely got potential to be in the top 10 PvP on tanks. Because he has a silence on his drag skill, so he's like the power dragon and the Aghoris dragons, right, where he absorbs damage, but his drag skill, right, is a silence, which is pretty cool. I just don't know if he's, again, better than Water Trophius. He just does different things, so. The Frosties, I'm not a big fan of I've got a bunch of different ones, but I don't know if they're worth keeping. I don't know. I haven't been looking at getting rid of them yet, but I haven't been powering them up either, clearly, here. So I evolve them one time to get the book, get the free diamonds for it, and that's about it. And then in last, Aphrodite, again, I don't like them. I think they're pretty garbage. If you're trying to be top tier PvP, don't use the dragon that uses zombie state, because you're just going to they're going to remove the zombie state, and then you're going to be SOL. So, definitely avoid Aphrodites. I don't think they're a good investment. But, hey, mastery fodder is mastery fodder, right? But, yeah, so we are at the end. After that is just my fodder of stuff I'm leveling up. My darks here that I'm saving for that dark Mummigon whenever that day finally comes. Here's to hoping, right? If you made it to the end of this video and just listen to me ramble and look at my collection, definitely like the video, please. I would very much appreciate that. It doesn't take any time at all. Just click the button, please. And if you haven't already, and you made it this far in the video, subscribe to the channel. Like, come on. Like, you clearly like Dragon Village M that much that you watch this far definitely subscribe to the channel because you're going to get a whole lot more content, and I'm always going to push new stuff for you guys. All right, any kind of help I can give, I'm going to do it for sure. All right, guys. Also, last second plug for the new t-shirts. We got the black one, black t-shirt, and the white t-shirt with the alternating color lettering. Definitely, if you could, grab one. Again, I don't know how long these guys are going to be up. I'm going to post them everywhere I can, but definitely check it out. All right, guys. But with that, this video is way too long now. I got to get out of here. I'll see you next time.